Hey everybody, it's Steve. I've been getting so many calls and it's wonderful. Please, I will get back to everyone. I know I'm a couple weeks behind. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to cross-train some people to help me keep up, but anyway. Wanted to talk about the law. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of unknowns, and frankly, the people who wrote it didn't understand it, the people who passed it didn't understand it, the Association of Realtors that pushed for it didn't understand it. I can only speak for myself, but I'm not aware of anyone who was involved in writing the law who actually was a broker who does wholesales on a regular basis. So I think for as well-meaning as the law is, I think a lot of people didn't understand what they were creating, and they've left a lot of openings. But you can say it's wrong, you can say it's unconstitutional, you can say it hurts your feelings, you can say it hurts your mother. No one cares because it's the law, and the deal is. Now, SB 1173, Senate Bill 1173, the wholesale law, passed in May by the Senate, June by the House, signed in July by the governor, became law in January, is a piece of a larger elephant legislation called the Real Estate Licensing and Registration Act. I always mess up that last R, which goes back to 1980. And that's where we have to start. We have to start with the original RELRA to realize what it means to bring people together for the purpose of real estate. So it is unlicensed, it is unlawful to bring people together for the purpose of engaging in real estate unless you're a licensed agent. And you can go to this law. I'm not going to find these quotes directly. I didn't prepare for this that much. I'm just trying to get it out there. That is the definition of what requires a license in Pennsylvania. So by that definition, which goes back to the original RELRA 1980 version, you have the reasoning for really nobody should be wholesaling in Pennsylvania, truthfully, if you take that definition. That anyone that brings people together for a real estate transaction must be licensed. So the fact that wholesaling even exists, the fact that SB 1173 was ever needed, there's a reference there that says, maybe it never was even actually doable. SB 1173 defines wholesale as being, this is the page I wanted to show you. Act 73 defines wholesale. Here we've defined broker, yada, yada, fine, residential property. Residential property, 1 unit to 4 units. They kept it within that definition. If you're vacant land or you're 5+, you're mixed use, you're commercial, by this act, you're good to go, even without a license. By the other phrasing in the original RELRA, no one seems to pay attention to it, but there's a possibility you're not. And believe me, I'm a wholesaler. I don't want to have it more regulated. I will admit that I do want and have wanted there to be an association of wholesalers, what I call the Independent Investors Association. And if we had that and we had an ethics board and we had guidance and whatever, we could say, hey, yeah, those other wholesalers, they're bad, but look at our members. Our members are beautiful. It's frankly what the Board of Realtors does every single day. The Association of Realtors does every single day. They say, well, yeah, a regular licensed agent is one thing, but a realtor, you've become a licensed agent and you've stepped it up. If we had this association in Pennsylvania, this law probably would not exist. But here's the definition for the wholesale transaction. The undertaking to promote the sale, exchange, or purchase of an equitable interest or other interest in residential property with the intent to assign, sell, or otherwise transfer the interest for a fee. You're selling equity and making money on the sale of equity on a property you don't own without having taken title as the owner of record on the interest. This is where everyone goes, oh, look, double close and I win. No, double close and you don't win. Because you sign a contract with someone on day 1. You advertise it from day 2 to day 30, let's say that's the closing day. On day 30 at 10 a.m. you buy it, on 11 a.m. you do your double close. Great. So between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. on day 30, you were not violating the law. From the day you signed the contract to the day you bought the property, you were advertising it. So you were promoting the exchange or sale or purchase of equitable interest without having taken title as the owner of record. So the fact that you double close at the end of it doesn't mean you weren't breaking the law at the beginning of it. And let's be honest, if you really think every other wholesaler in the market, every other agent in the market, everyone in the market doesn't have a motivation to turn you in for it, you're acting in a very interesting way. And I had someone bring up tortious interference. Now, this one was a very qualified teacher of brokerage stuff. And I said, well, gee, the 30-day right of rescission, which is further down the act, which says that the seller has 30 days to change their mind for any reason, including not liking the color of your shoes. Not sure where they got 30 days, not sure what got 30 days, but let me go there a second. First, she said, and I said, well, gee, okay, so day one, someone signs a contract, they advertise the contract, and I see that property. I go talk to that seller, and I steal the deal from them because the seller can change their mind. I find out that 41 is the price I can get the deal for. I get a new contract. And I was using it as an illustration how eventually the seller loses their house to the problem that they were afraid of. So day one, you sign a contract, advertise a property for 50 that you have at 40. No one knows what you have it at, but I know it's less than 50. I contact the seller. I play the numbers game. Let's see how high I have to go till the seller says yes to me. Then I sign the contract. Clock restarts 30 days. Let's say this seller dies if they don't sell their property in 25 days. Well, if we keep replacing each other on the contract, no one ever gets to bring a deal to closing, and the seller loses the property. That's where the law hurts the seller. She said that would be that the people who tried to steal the deal from the original wholesaler would be committed in tortious interference, would be interfering with a contract, which is actually a violation of regular law, not just licensing law. However, for those of you who want to get really geeky and complicated, if you are not licensed and you sign an agreement with a seller to wholesale their property, that agreement is not legal under Pennsylvania law. Therefore, you have no protection by that contract. There's no valid contract because you weren't licensed and therefore you weren't authorized to do it. So all of this complicated stuff aside, here's my point in all of this. If you are doing wholesale, it costs about $500 to get your license. It costs about $500 every couple of years to keep it. You pay your broker a little bit of money, percentage, monthly, whatever your deal is, with a broker that's okay with wholesaling. And if you're smart with a broker like me that understands wholesaling, I am both Steve Franco, Guerrilla Real Estate, commonly known as the wholesale broker. If you want to do this business professionally, why not do it right, do it legally, and not have to look over your shoulder? Now, people say novation is different, power of attorney is different. I don't see a definition in this phrasing here where it says unless it's novation, unless it's power of attorney, unless it's subject to, unless. I see a pretty clear definition that says if you're selling equity for a property you're not currently holding title on, you're a wholesaler. If you're a wholesaler, you must be a licensed agent. Now, these are some things that you have to have in your contract. They have the right to cancel a sales agreement that contains the following information. If you're writing a wholesale agreement, and I'm not going to try to make this totally comprehensive, there's 4 big points. The seller has a 30-day right to change their mind for any reason. They cannot waive that 30-day right. Notice of cancellation is given by certified whatever. Within 10 business days, they must cancel. You must refund any money you charge them. Why you're charging them, I don't know. You must state in your contract that it's a wholesale transaction. Consumer has the right to appraisal and cancel if they don't like if they don't like your number versus the appraisal. Right to cancel with 30 days, and they get all their money back. So if you want to continue wholesaling in Pennsylvania, get your license and join Guerrilla Real Estate. It's very simple. You also gain so much because you gain the ability to list property. You gain the ability to refer listings to and from agents and brokers across the country and around the world, which means you have someone you know who wants to buy or sell in California. You help them find an agent in California. You get a piece of the California pie. Also, remember, every wholesaler that's listening to this, you've sat across from that seller where you can't make a deal because they need to make a listing amount of money. They don't need a wholesale amount of money. They need bigger. They need something else that an agent can offer. If you're licensed and with a broker, you can offer them that, or you can offer to refer them to someone that can give them that. So it's not a hard process, guys. It's not scary. And yes, you have to have a broker involved because if you have your license, you're either with a broker and actively able to do business, or of course you are a broker, which is a different story, but you're with a brokerage, or your license is in escrow, which means the state is storing it, which means technically you have a license, but you can't use it. It's kind of like it's, in the safe deposit box or something. You can keep your jewels in a safe deposit box, but you can't wear them at the same time. You still own them, but nobody knows. Nobody cares. So it's really not that hard to get licensed. We have a course. Well, we have 3 or 4 partners who have courses. I don't teach the course. We have courses. We have weekly trainings that we're starting in the first week of February. We have for wholesale and for on market. We have everything you need. We have our contracts. We have this. We have that. We have the other thing. So we can help you. If you're another broker or you're an agent with another brokerage, we can work with you a few different ways. We pay you a 30% referral fee and 5% buyer agency commission if you bring a buyer. If you just ship your wholesale deal over to us and we run it, no problem. If you have a wholesale deal and you want to run it and joint venture with us, we come up with a split, 50-50, whatever it might be. We can do consulting for you. We can show your agents how to do it. We can run your wholesale division for your brokerage. We come up with 1,000 different ways. That's what the wholesale broker is all about. But I'm not here to sell that. I'm just here to try to explain that, yes, you have to be licensed. And those of you in Philadelphia, your Philadelphia license is just that, a Philadelphia license. However, unfortunately for you, Philadelphia exists within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So you not only have to follow the Philadelphia law, but you have to follow the Pennsylvania law. If you transact business in Philadelphia and you're not in Philadelphia, you also have to follow both laws. You always have to follow every law, local, municipal, state that affects your business. Whatever, local, county, state, whatever. So yeah, you might be a totally legit wholesaler within Philadelphia as of January 3rd. You woke up on January 4th and you also needed to be a licensed agent with a broker. If you're with an EXP, and I'm not quoting these brands, I did not look, but EXP, KW, C21, and Berkshire, I think, have all said no wholesaling. You're there and you're happy, please stay. I never want to steal anyone. Refer your wholesales over to me, take a 30% referral. You have other ideas, let me know. If you're with a brokerage that is okay with wholesaling and you guys know what you're doing, great, no problem. But I beg of you guys, please, whatever you do, violating the law isn't worth it. You can disagree with it. I disagree with it. I was down at the Association of Realtors meeting on Monday and Tuesday, explaining to them how much this bag smells that's on my front porch now called the new law. How it doesn't help the consumer, it doesn't help us, whatever. But it's the law. They tried, they came up with something, it's there. The intention was good. It's where we are. If you're really going to work around it, I'm going to ask you one simple question. Are you willing to win, lose, or draw? Have a fight with the state real estate commission. Will be supported in that fight by the Board of Realtors and the Pennsylvania Association of Realtors. So it's you, and the lawsuit will say Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus. Are you willing to have that fight? Do you have the money to have that fight? Are you willing to face the criminal and civil penalties of having that fight versus simply getting a license, signing on with Guerrilla Real Estate, and running your business correctly? That's what you have to decide. And if you say, well, I've got a good buyer's list, I'm just going to sign properties up and I'm going to do it the other way. All right. Until a deal doesn't go well and the seller calls the state on you. Until one of your buyers rats you out. Until. Again, if you're willing to take the chance, great. Good luck. I hope you win. But why? $500 license fee, $500 every couple of years, keep your license. A little piece of the pie to the broker. Great. The last thing I want to explain to you is under the original RELRA, the original Licensing Act. This is where it really hits the road. I had a very good investor who wholesales that I know, who I trust, ethical guy, terrific. We all know him. Contact me early on in this and said, hey, I'll pay you $250 a month and $1,000 per deal, and you just let me run my show and just put your broker stamp on it. Now, my trust in him and his skills and his ethics, no problem. I would personally, no problem, trust everything he does to be correct. However, RELRA, the Licensing Act, says that here are some of the things that a non-licensed person cannot do. Cannot negotiate with sellers, cannot negotiate with buyers, cannot engage in substantive real estate activity, which is a blanket term that lets them use it however they want. Cannot show homes, cannot create listings, cannot advertise homes, cannot write contracts. It gets so absurd that if you are a non-licensed receptionist at a real estate firm and a call comes in to say, how much is that house? All the non-licensed receptionists can say, it's 2025, it's on the website, it's on flyers, it's everywhere. She can't say, well, let's look it up and I'll tell you. She can say, our website is this, or I can connect you to a licensed agent. If you're a non-licensed person doing an open house, or a showing, as wholesalers like to call it, we all like to call it. I'm standing in a house, there's 2 bedrooms behind me, and 2 bathrooms at the end of the hall. Whatever, it's all within view. Someone says, how many bedrooms and bathrooms in this house? I'm not licensed. My mouth cannot open the entire time I'm in that building. I smile and look. That's it. I point. I say, well, you could look around the home and see for yourself. I can't provide substantive real estate information. It's very simple. And if you think that there won't be people out there who are looking at your wholesale listings and waiting to turn you into the state or waiting to steal your wholesale listings, I have no desire to play that dirty game. But if you think they're not out there, you're crazy. And if you think there are not agents who are going to go to your showings in order to try to catch an unlicensed person violating the law. I got a story I can tell you about a former broker I know in Clark Summit and what happened to him during the shutdown in COVID, when he was sitting alone in the building that he owns where his brokerage firm happened to be located. And a state inspector came and accused him of breaking the law because another agent turned him in, because they saw his car. The bottom line is the reward of avoiding the law worth the risk? I want to help you. My name is Steve, Guerrilla Real Estate, 570-798-7051. Thanks.